This is the Strong is a Mindset podcast, episode number 131. If you're thinking of changing any habit in the coming year, start with these 3 things. This is the Strong is a Mindset podcast, where you'll learn how to build both a strong body and a strong mind by eating, moving, and thinking. I'm your host, physician, personal trainer, certified health coach, and certified life coach, Carrie Holland. Hey, how are you? What's new? What's good? So, what's good here? Well, it's December 25th. So for those of you celebrating, Merry Christmas. And whether you're celebrating Christmas, taking a break, or just tuning in for some inspiration, I am super glad that you're here today. And I've got something valuable to share with you. So today, I am resharing one of my most impactful episodes. It's also one of my first episodes, but over 2 years later, this concept is still essential and I still teach it to my clients. So this episode outlines the 3 things you need in order to succeed at habit change. And the original title of this episode was your 3 must-haves for losing weight. But I'm going to widen the scope and offer that this approach is really essential for any habit that you're looking to change. And while the method that I describe in this episode sounds simple, it really is a game changer. It's the framework that I've used with clients to get really clear on their goals, and it works. So if you're looking to build sustainable habits, the method that I describe, this is the way to do it. So why am I replaying this on Christmas? Well, as we close out the year and you start thinking about the changes that you want to make in the year ahead, this is a good time to remind yourself that a habit change is not about perfection. It's about having a strategy, showing up regularly, and being patient with yourself and the process. And that is exactly what this episode is going to help you do. So whether you're starting to map out your New Year's resolutions, or if you're just looking for tools to stay on track with your habits, this episode has what you need. And I hope you enjoy it. All right. So happy holidays to you. And I will catch you again next week with a brand new episode. So today I want to build on our first 2 episodes and share what I believe are the 3 things that you must have in order to lose weight. And I'll even take a step back and say that while this advice most definitely applies to losing weight, it really applies to any change or any habit you're looking to establish. And I made an entire episode about this because these 3 things that you need to succeed are the 3 things that are most commonly overlooked by the majority of people that I work with. It is that important. So here it is. This is what you need. You need a PCP, a plan, consistency, and patience. In that order, PCP. And you want to know what's awesome about this? My healthcare providers out there know PCP stands for primary care physician. And yes, while it's hokey, I cannot tell you how many mnemonics I used to get through med school for all the things we had to memorize. And now here I am, I'm transferring that skill. So it's a win. Okay. But let's get into the specifics of these. Okay. Plan. First and foremost, you need a plan. If you are trying to lose weight, winging it is not going to get you anywhere. That I can guarantee you. I do not know a single person who's lost a significant amount of weight by deciding on meals in the heat of the moment. There are all kinds of quotes on planning, but one of my favorites is this: fail to plan, plan to fail. It's very simple, but it is the absolute truth. But let me make an important distinction right here. So when I'm talking about a plan, I'm not referring to Whole30 or keto or Mediterranean or vegetarian or any of those. That's because that really does not matter. So if you need a reminder about this, there is no one right way to eat. You get to choose. And if you need more information on this, go back to episode 2 and you will get a boatload of details about how to eat there. What does matter is this: your plan should not be complicated. In fact, the simpler your plan is, the better, because you are busy and who's got time for a complicated way of eating with loads of rules, right? So let me help you simplify this. Answer these questions. What is your current approach to meals? Does your approach to meals satisfy you? Does it work for you, your family, and for your life? Does the way you eat match up with your goals, whether it's weight loss, building muscle, or feeling good? And don't worry, because we will cover the specifics of these in great detail in an upcoming episode, okay? So now ask yourself these questions. Do you plan out your meals? And next, and most important, do you follow through on your plan? So I ask this because so many of the women I work with have an idea in their minds of how they would like to eat, but then a number of different things trip them up. So For example, the weekends are so busy and they don't have time to shop for the things that they actually want to eat. Or they plan to prepare a bunch of food in advance and they don't. Or they make the food and then decide they don't want to eat the food. Or they don't really fully plan, meaning they have an idea in their head of what they'd like to eat, but they don't get specific enough, and then the plan never comes to fruition. So when you're thinking of your plan, get very practical here. And so for today's purposes, when I'm talking about a plan, I'm referring to three things: the what, the when, and the how. Okay, so first the what. When you're planning what to eat, you can, again, I said it before, you can make your plan as simple or as complicated as you like. Me, I 100% go for simple. I will chop veggies like no one's business. I hate to cook. Ask my kids. They know it, okay? There is a reason I'm called Burned Cheese Lady at home. Burned Cheese Lady. It's great. I know that our weeks are busy and they tend to be a blur of work and school and kid activities, and we repeat the cycle the next day. So for our house, planning elaborate meals with loads of ingredients is basically going to result in moldy goat cheese and slimy basil that I toss in the garbage at the end of the week. That's wasted money and wasted food. So if that's ever happened to you, this is how you can keep your food very simple. Consider this, okay? What are the proteins, vegetables, and grains that you and your family will eat? That's it. And then, what are the fast, easy, healthy dishes that are winners for you and your entire family? Remember, we're aiming for healthy, simple, fast, something that everyone will eat. So here is a simple approach. Create that list of your favorite proteins, grains, fruits, and veggies. And then along with that, add the dishes that you have at home regularly. If you have a pasta night, add it. Now, pair these things together. We are not talking about a complex, complete dish like coq au vin, okay? Save that for the weekend when you've got time, all right? A piece of fish plus a salad and quinoa, done. Do not overcomplicate your food, all right? It does not have to be a complete dish or a casserole to count as dinner. All right. This is an important point, okay? Your meals are the sum of their individual parts, and they do not have to come together to form a complete dish. My go-to meal, egg whites, Ezekiel toast, one with peanut butter, one with butter, and a side of broccoli. That is most definitely not fancy. It is not pulled together, and it does not matter. It is a protein, it's a vegetable, it's a grain, and a fat. Mission accomplished. Check. Okay? So make your list of foods and pair them together. Then, if there are certain dishes that you and your family have weekly, add them. There's your grocery list. Okay, there's your what. Now, when. Okay, so you've determined what you want to eat. Now, determine when. And when I say that, I mean map it out. So if you know that one kid has soccer and one kid has swim, and you're going to be a kid Uber once you walk in from work, maybe that's your crock pot night. So get very practical and realistic and use a calendar. Map it out and put it on paper. I cannot stress this enough. Use a calendar of some sort. And when you do this, take your schedule and your evenings into consideration when you map out what you are eating when. Do not skip this step, because if you know that Tuesday night you've got a late meeting or clinic or whatever, it might be a leftover night. More on this in just a minute. The key here is to be really practical and realistic with the amount of time you have and the meals you've planned out for yourself. So you've figured out what you're going to eat and you've mapped it out on your calendar. Next, determine how your plan is going to come to fruition. So do you need to chop and wash your veggies on Sunday? Do you need to grill a 3-pound package of turkey burgers so you have them for the rest of the week? Do you need to marinate 2 blocks of tofu so you've got it ready? So this is so important and most definitely overlooked. The recipes, the ingredients, the calendar, and the schedule, they don't mean anything if you cannot physically make the food. So do you need to load up the crock pot and store it in the fridge the night before so you can pull it out, set it and forget it as you're heading out for work? Stuff like that. And I know that these are very specific nitty-gritty details, but here's the thing. I really love nitty-gritty, and I cannot stress how important it is to get into the weeds and get into the details when you're making your plan, because the things that get left to chance generally don't plan out well. So force yourself to get a little tedious. Telling yourself, I need to chop veggies sometime this week, does not get the job done. Challenge yourself to get really specific, okay? Get through the how, all right? So here's your plan. Get the what and keep it simple. There's your list. Determine when and put it on your calendar. and decide the how. Get very tedious about chopping, sauteing, washing, the crock pot, all of it. There's your plan. Done. Okay? So once you have your plan, the next step is that you have to follow it regularly. That is consistency. And I'm sure you've heard it before, but it bears repeating. Consistency is key, and it really is. But what exactly does consistency mean? Let me tell you. Consistency means that you perform something in a similar way each time you do it. So to put it even more simply, you keep showing up. You keep following your plan. And I think that this is best explained with an analogy. And anytime I can find you a strength training analogy, I'm going to share it. So here it is. Okay. So I work with a lot of women who want to master a pull-up, an unassisted body weight pull-up. It's badass. Okay. And I have a lot of women who ask me to help them get there. Okay. So say you want to master a pull-up. You try a few pull-ups on Monday and it is stinking hard. And then the next week goes by and you don't try any pull-ups. And then the next week goes by and you don't try any pull-ups. But then on the fourth week, you go back and on Monday, you try to do pull-ups and you still did not bust out a full pull-up. And if you have this type of pattern, you may feel like you've been trying for forever, but you're not seeing results. When in reality, in the span of 4 weeks, you've tried pull-ups twice. Okay? So take this analogy and apply it to your nutrition. If you're following your plan once and then not following it again for another 4 weeks, it may feel like you've been doing this for forever, but not getting anywhere. And that's what's missing is the consistency. Consistency is putting in your reps. It is as simple and as complicated as that. So just trying pull-ups twice in 4 weeks is not going to get you a pull-up. Eating according to your plan 2 days out of 4 weeks is not going to get you to weight loss. Okay? So if you're not seeing results, ask yourself if you're being consistent. And if you want a really simple way of viewing consistency, you're in luck. And I told you before, I really love math. So here's some math, okay? So consistency equals practice plus repetition plus frequency. If you eat in a calorie deficit and stay on your plan Monday through Thursday, but Friday through Sunday, you go off the chain and eat nothing but takeout and drink a bottle of wine each night, you're not going to lose weight because you're not in a consistent calorie deficit. So often I get asked, how long is it going to take to lose weight, give up sugar, wake up at 5 a.m. regularly for my workout? Here's the thing. Asking how long it's going to take is asking the wrong question. Instead, I offer you this. Ask yourself, how consistent do I need to be? Okay? How consistent do I need to be in order to achieve the goal I've set for myself? So let me make one other really important distinction here. Consistency is not the same thing as perfection. If you write out your meal plan for the week and one day there is an emergency at work and you end up missing your crock pot chicken tacos, all hope is not lost. One stinky day, one decision, one action does not add up to failure. Okay? Give yourself room to mess up and make mistakes because you are human. So here is where consistency and perfection diverge. For many of you, if you have a stinky day or you miss one of your planned meals and you take a perfectionist view, you let that one bad day ruin your progress and use that as a reason to go off the chain. It's the I'll start over again on Monday mentality. But if you take a more compassionate, kinder, consistency-centered view, you tell yourself, okay, that was one meal, one decision. The next one, I'm back on plan, moving forward. Do you see the difference? The difference is huge, huge difference. So while we're on the topic of failure, when it comes to consistency, have a plan for failure. Ask yourself, how will you get back on track if you totally blew it and ate an entire pizza with your coworkers at lunch when you planned to eat a salad that you brought with you? How will you talk to yourself? What will your next meal look like? So I'm going to share some really great advice that I learned from one of my mentors, Jordan Syed, who is awesome. Please check him out. He says it all the time, never miss twice. So meaning, if you eat a boatload of pizza at lunch and you're not thrilled about that decision, make your next meal something you are proud of. Do not let one bad decision turn into 2 or 3. Plan for what you will do when you mess up. Okay? Because like I said before, you are human. You're going to mess up. It is totally part of the process. And remember this, okay? I would rather you be consistent and happy than perfect and miserable, okay? I would rather you be consistent and happy than perfect and miserable. So what does it even mean to be perfect when it comes to your food? Does that mean you ate nothing but chicken breast and broccoli and salad 7 days in the week? Because that sounds pretty unpleasant at best. And we know this already. Perfect is boring. Perfect is a joke. And it is not possible and it's not sustainable. Okay? So repetition is far more important than perfection. If you did not follow your plan perfectly, you did not fail. Please, please, please remember this always. You are not starting over. You are picking up where you left off. You are putting in your reps. That is consistency. Okay? So we've got a plan. We've got consistency. And last but not least, patience. So many of my clients admittedly get a little annoyed with me when I talk about patience. And I've said it before. I will say it here. Patience is a pain in the booty, but it can also be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending on your perspective. So make peace with patience, okay? To be successful at any habit, this is essential, especially when we are talking about weight loss. So this usually begs the question, how in the world do you build patience? Okay, so I have a couple ideas for you. So to build patience, first, make the process fun, okay? This should be fun. It is way easier to stick with change when you feel good and enjoy it, okay? Find foods that you actually want to eat. Choose exercise that you enjoy or at the very least can tolerate and make them both fun and make them habit. It is a lot easier to stick to your plan when you see the fun in it. And this is one place, again, where your attitude really is everything in this case. Make it fun. Next, be realistic. Okay? So if you're trying to lose weight, think about how long it took for you to put on the extra weight you are trying to lose in the first place. It's most likely that weight did not pile on overnight or even within a few weeks or months. And I use this analogy all the time because I think it's so important. You cannot undo 5 years of eating 3,000 calories a day with 2 weeks of eating 1,500 calories a day. And I know to hear this is frustrating, and social media most definitely does not make this any easier to swallow because influencers and fancy marketing tactics would have you believe that the weight will just melt right off if you buy their product or program or follow it. And I call their BS, okay? Instead, get very real with yourself and ask yourself if you're in it for the long haul. Ask yourself if the goal that you've set for yourself makes sense. Third, find the small wins along the way. If you are basing your success on the scale alone, you are likely setting yourself up for some major disappointment. When you feel yourself getting impatient because the process is slow, this is the time to start asking yourself, where are you succeeding? So go back to your consistency. Have you been killing your workouts 5 days a week like you've calendared out for yourself? Have you been eating the big salad every day according to your plan that you wrote out on your whiteboard? Are you getting your steps in? Are you drinking your water? Where are you seeing results? They do not have to be scale oriented. And we are going to get into an entire episode on this. So more on the small wins and the scale upcoming. Okay, so stay tuned. Next, recognize that there is no finish line. Okay, here's a key concept. This is what I'm about. I am not about diets. I am not into fads. My goal for you is that you find a way of eating and moving that is sustainable, feels good, and if your goal is weight loss, that it helps you do that. But here's the thing. Once you hit your goal, once you see the number on the scale that you want, you are not done. Because once you get where you want to be with your weight, your habits, whatever it is you're looking to do, you have to maintain it. That does not go away. There is no end point here. This is why I don't love diets or challenges or detoxes or 30 days, whatevers. You go on and go off a diet. You start and stop a challenge. We talk about it like it's a light switch. But what I'm talking about with you today is making real, sustainable lifestyle changes so that the way that you eat and move simply becomes how you are, how you do. There is no stopping and starting. There is no on-off switch here. This is what takes the work. It takes planning and consistency, just like we talked about. But if you find yourself getting impatient, know this. Quitting does not get you there any faster. Again, you are not starting over. You just pick up where you left off. So there it is, a very simple but not easy formula to make change in your life, whether it's weight loss, establishing exercise, even a career change, a big project, a skill, swimming, anything you want to achieve. This is what you need: a plan, consistency, and patience. All right, so what do you think about this? Try this out. Come up with a plan for yourself. Challenge yourself to get really specific. And then for every day you follow your plan and are being consistent, give yourself a big red X on your calendar. So if you ever watch Seinfeld or are familiar with Seinfeld, you may be familiar with his "don't break the chain" motto. So he made a commitment to write jokes and material every day. And when he held up on his plan, he gave himself a big red X on his calendar, and his goal was to keep the chain going. All right, so try it out. And then ask yourself, how patient can you be? Because we're in it for the long haul. All right? And I've got your back. Okay? I hope you find this helpful, because this is foundational. This plan, consistency, and patience, this matters more than your calories, your macros, whether you eat meat or tofu. This is what matters: a plan, consistency, and patience. All right? So let me know what you think about this. And I am so excited to hang out with you again next week. I'll catch you then. Bye. Hey, if you're looking for your next great read, I've got you covered. Head over to carriehollandmd.com/books and download my list of most favorite reads. I've got 2 collections waiting for you. One is all about work-life balance. The other is a collection of books that have changed my life. I've referenced many of these books in the podcast, and now you can access those titles all in one place. Again, that's carriehollandmd.com/books. Check it out and find your next great read. Thank you for listening to the Strong is a Mindset podcast. If you want to learn more about how to build both a strong mind and a strong body by eating, moving, and most importantly, thinking, check out carriehollandmd.com.